for everybody.
AFSCME union leaders taking out a $2 million loan against their members' dues to buy influence in this election when their members might want that money for, I don't know, themselves. That speaks of something offensive.
I think that their members elected the people who are making those decisions, which is unlike the corporations that are making them, and definitely unlike the shadow funders that we don't even know who they are, who are pouring way more than $2 million into this campaign, Neil. Like I said, get the money out, but let your viewers judge the politics behind one or the other.
But why do 93% of union leaders vote one way, and their members are almost split in half in those elections?
It's 70-30, but that's okay.
There's obviously a disconnect.
Well, there's no question that unions as institutions support Democrats almost uniformly, and that members, as you say, are more split. It's really more 70-30 if you look at the historic data.
But the business guys are buying that influence, if you will, from dues from their own members who are not being involuntarily coaxed out of it, where the union members have no choice as to a political slush fund, essentially, which is what you're charging the companies are doing.
I think the unions waste way too much money. I'm kind of surprised you're complaining at all because, frankly, the Chamber of Commerce is getting a hell of a lot more for their dollars out of this Congress than the unions have. And so, you know, I kind of, if I were you, would have been keeping my mouth shut and sitting on my hands.
I'll tell you, I take no side in this one. I'm just saying, if you're talking about buying influence and you're saying businesses got a good end of the bargain out of this, and I'm looking at economic numbers that really aren't gangbusters. I'm looking at a debt that's grown by $3 trillion. I'm looking at CEOs who are hoarding nearly $2 trillion in cash because they don't know where regulations are going. They don't know where taxes are going.
Okay.
If you think they've gotten their money's worth, then man, oh man, you've got to find some new investments.
Well, I'm talking about the legislative agenda, Neil. Come on. You got Obamacare, which was absolutely a sop to pharmacies and for-profit hospitals and insurance companies. They're totally in the driver's seat.
Why are so many companies
Employee-free choice is totally
raising
dead.
their premiums about it?
Well, you know, if you're not a healthcare company or you're not an insurance company, you're going to get screwed too. Unfortunately, they didn't see it as worth getting on the right side of the issue, which would have been single payer.
If that's what you get for buying influence, you've bought crap.
Well, that's why I'm saying I think the unions have wasted a lot of money on bad Democrats, but for reasons that I can understand,
we have come around to agreement, my friend.
We always do, Neil.
But because exactly, it's a big world. Let's kumbaya. I'm telling you, unions have gotten screwed in this deal from their leadership, and a lot of businesses have gotten screwed in this deal because both sides, if they wanted to see better times, haven't seen it.
I wouldn't agree with that, though. What I think the unions have gotten screwed on is they've paid for, you know, politicians. They put money into political campaigns that have actually not produced the policies that they're in favor of. What they've gotten is almost zero of their legislative agenda dealt with by this Congress, even though they've got a bulletproof Senate until this past January, and they had a president in the White House. So where's the beef is what I'm saying for all that money. And I think that what the lesson they need to learn is that corporate Democrats and Republicans themselves are their enemy, and the problem is money in politics because corporations are buying the Democratic Party too. Come on, Neil.
Or even allowing if they are, they're not getting much for their money. I think it comes back
You're
to
kidding. Financial reform. Look at that. That was a wet kiss to Wall Street. You know?
Wait. Was the financial reform the same thing that was a kiss to Fannie and Freddie, the one that left them out? That was the kiss to Wall Street?
And you're about to get another one because you've got this fiscal responsibility commission that's going to privatize Social Security.
Why is it you, Neil, or me, that it's my bank?
But what you were, it's your boss. Let's be honest. Rupert, the guy who you, by the way, in terms of honesty and journalism, you didn't say anything about the $1 million that News Corporation put into the Chamber of Commerce. Maybe that's why we're sitting here.
By the way, and you don't say anything about the Democratic candidates he supported or this organization has helped to fund. So you are picking and choosing the battles you want to fight, which was the crux of this argument at the outset. The media, and you by extension, pick and choose those issues that you find offensive. So you find offensive businesses that try to buy influence. You do not find offensive union honchos who, with their members' money, and their members don't want it, try to buy influence. So on the one side, business guys are bad. And we both agreed they're not always getting what they wanted or what they paid for. And the union guys who are spending a boatload aren't always getting what they wanted or paid for. So I think we can readily agree that both sides then in this system are getting screwed.
What I want to leave it with is that I think your viewers should look about what is actually being pressed for here. AT&T gives money to politics because they want to control the FCC. They want it to vote their way. The CWA, the union that represents telecom workers, is involved in politics because they want to make sure that Democrats don't actually give up their regulatory responsibilities. But you're making them seem like
they're a weaponless David against Goliath. They have built a war chest that would end the IBM. My point is,
and that's why we got to keep coming back to the numbers, Neil. And like I'm telling you, the best numbers that are out there say it's been 10-1, business outspending labor, and it's only going to get bigger with Citizens United.
All right, so the influence or whatever gains that unions have experienced for all that money and for the record numbers they've thrown out, and for AFSCME within the last week taking out a $2 million loan on top of the $70 million already committed, on top of the $17 million committed before that, that is not a problem, that has not yielded any results at all. Have you taken a look at health care? Have you taken a look at Cadillac plans that favor unions? Have you taken a look at bailouts that have favored union operations? Have you taken a look at stimulus jobs that have been targeted for only unions? If that is not buying influence and getting your way, I don't know what is.
It's been table scraps with this administration. You'll come on.
Table scraps.
The TARP. You're talking about the Wall Street bailout. You're talking about privatizing Social Security. You're talking. I think your boss and many people that he runs with have been at that trough.
Here we go with my boss again. All right. By the way, I want you to be just as zealous taking a look at other media organizations and where their money goes. And I want you to be just as zealous following this manipulative boss of mine who just endorsed the Democrat running for governor in this state and supported Hillary Clinton running for senator from this fine state. You know what I mean? Everything he does is evil. Everything the other guys do is Satan.
No, I
You're
absolutely
like the New York Times picking and choosing your favorites.
I absolutely agree that people give money for reasons that are not for the bottom line on the Republican side or the conservative side.
Just like unions, then.
No, I would say a minority do that on the conservative side. I think most what I want to leave your viewers with is look at what the policies people are pushing for. Unions are pushing for things like raising the minimum wage, making sure that Social Security is not dismantled, making sure that there's
stimulus contracts, union-only incentive plans, union-only health care passes on Cadillac plans.
Most people that got the Cadillac tax are not even in unions.
Come on, because of who they have as a friend in the White House. And you're talking about my boss? Take a look at their boss. He's in the White House.
Neil, this is one area where definitely we're not going to see eye to eye. I was hoping we were going to come back around. Well, we always do eventually, but not this time. I'm saying look at what the people out there giving money are pushing, and that's what your viewers should focus on. Unions are trying to raise the minimum wage, keep Social Security intact, and make sure that we actually have something in the name of environmental protection. They have to endorse politicians and try to get them elected to do that.
They're firing on all cylinders now and getting gung-ho results. But, Mark, I'd love to have you back. We went very much over here. My producers are yelling at me. I've got Rupert Murdoch on line one. It's not a good night.
You tell him to call me.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you will. Mark Brenner, seriously.